I heard someone mention it might be better for our politics, our democracy, our government, for Trump to lose on the ballot, on every ballot, on every state, instead of being disqualified. It was some constitutional scholar, I don't remember his name, but it was at the end of the Legal Eagle video, they showed that clip. Basically because, apparently because conservatives have a weird relationship with facts, apparently it's objectively seemingly the case with all the politicians, and, you know, you could see insane liberals, and you could see insane conservatives, from where I as a liberal, obviously, if you've watched any other video on my channel, you know I'm a liberal, but you're probably new because I have a very large channel, but obviously, as a liberal, I don't think many more base positions that a conservative have don't make sense. So my standard for what is a someone who's not operating on facts will be different from an independent to you know, moderate conservative. I would probably consider myself a moderate level when it comes to these things. Just doing a little warning before that. I generally have most of the liberal positions, but you know, try and ground them in some sort of facts or logic. And my next video will be just explaining my liberal positions, why I have them, and which things maybe that aren't so liberal that I think, and why I think those things. Just, you know, ground those out, and I'll like update that like every half a year, just so people can know where I'm at and where I stand on stuff. But do I think it's better that Trump loses on the ballot? No, and I don't think that that's going to change anything. Only because from how you've seen the conservatives react to like a January 6th insurrection in the first place, right? Even the politicians who, like, I mean, Mitch McConnell said it was a violent insurrection with the goal of stopping the fair transfer of power. Mitch McConnell said that, leader of the conservative leader in the Senate, right? He objectively said that, and then afterwards, once so that people didn't really like that they were making Trump look like a bad guy, and they liked that they were going to basically trying to overthrow the government, because they thought that the government had already, you know, lied and stolen an election from them. I feel like that context is really necessary. See, conservatives, I do actually try and be fair. Like, if you think that the government lied and stole an election, yeah, you'll probably rebel, and you'll probably do an insurrection, like, if you think that's true. I don't think you guys had nearly good enough reason to believe that was true. And as we continued to see during the court cases that Trump brought and other people brought, and how the conservatives were the ones looking to see if there was any election fraud, there was not nearly any proof of election fraud. There was some votes that didn't necessarily line up perfectly, but not like thousands of them. And there was conservative election fraud. If not as much, if not more, if not just as much. So there was no grand scheme to get one person elected. Also, one thing I think is interesting, on the same ballot in which you would vote for, you know, like, there were conservatives who won in districts in areas when Trump lost. So it's like, okay, well, if they were doing this defrauding, shouldn't in these same areas where Biden was winning, shouldn't all of the Democrats have been winning if it was a grand Democratic scheme? That's one thing, whatever. Anyway, point is, the facts did not matter there. People had feelings that they cared about more than the facts. It was pretty objective. It should be like, oh, this guy tried to steal an election that he lost. He sent people to do something. And then we reframed January 2nd to like, yeah, people were just doing a walkthrough without permission. They were doing a little tour, but they didn't buy tickets. That's how they phrase it now. That framing makes me think that it wouldn't matter to them. Like, Trump losing, in my opinion, Trump losing in this next election will gather the same disdain and ire as Trump being disqualified from this election. Because I don't think people care why. The facts are that it wouldn't be unfair if he was disqualified, because we do have an amendment made during the Civil War to prevent people who perform insurrection from holding some form of office. Now, are they going to decide that it applies? I don't know. I think the Supreme Court probably just, based on how they rule generally, I don't think they'll want to set any new precedents. Like, and that's, of course, as a liberal, like, yeah, the Supreme Court does everything. For one, the Supreme Court does have a very obvious conservative bias, but I think the issue is, instead of the bias towards helping conservatives, I think they just won't want to set a new, like, they won't want to change something. Now, they're screwed no matter what. They have to set for a precedent, either doing what Trump's level of insurrection, because you can do more than what Trump did, obviously. Either you can say that level of insurrection is or is not okay. So now, if they rule, which I think they will rule to let Trump stay on the ballot, every president can do at least that much, can fail at least that far. Like, maybe the difference, I mean, like, here's the issue is, if that worked, then he just would have taken over and just become a, you know, well, maybe not a dictator, but would have stolen. If Trump succeeded to steal the election, then, like, that's a slightly different story. But if you fail how Trump failed, no repercussions in any way, you can always run again. And that's a precedent they'll be setting. But I think they'll view that as less of a change to our political process than saying people. I guess what's the most charitable way to view it? Like, I don't know how a charitable way to view it. There's probably more charitable way to view this, but saying that he can't run, disqualified from running when when nothing actually changed, right? Because he didn't actually steal the election. No politicians actually got killed. The election did stop, and he did stop, right? So, because no one actually got changed. The problem is, like, you know, anything being successful means he did steal the election. So it's not really great. There's no great way to view this as not doing it. No matter what, you're making some hard claims. I'm rambling now, but that's why I think the Supreme Court's probably just gonna, like, yeah, like, let him stay on the ballot. This seems to change the least amount of things. He's the leading, he's the front runner for the Republican Party. But yeah, I don't know. So, like, I think that's about as much as I have to say about that. Now, one that switched to another point is just, you know, the Democrats worrying about things like Biden winning. I don't know that it matters as much. I don't know if I'm as worried as the average Democrat is about Biden losing. And when we say Biden losing, we don't really mean Biden losing. We mean, you know, Trump winning. We don't care if Biden's there. Just like there's some poll, like they say any generic Democrat in some polling apparently beats Trump. But so I don't care if it's Biden. I do think there's been very great things Biden has done, and two reasonably sized blemishes. First thing I wasn't a big fan of was the nature of the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Seems like it probably could have been done better. I don't know how to go about doing it, but you've hoped that that would have been less catastrophic. I don't really care about the well, here's the thing. I don't know how I'm going to manage to pay my own student loans, but that's why I'm going to try and get a new job instead of doing Lyft and Uber, and hopefully I'll be able to pay it myself. Like, I never went to college expecting that my student loans were going to be forgiven. Though I don't have the position of, hey, you got these loans, you got to figure it out. I haven't paid. If mine could get forgiven, fuck yeah, I would take that in a fucking heartbeat. But I hope that I'll be able to get some job and pay for them myself, not really looking like, Biden let me down in that way. Things I'm more concerned with are stuff like average housing prices. I myself currently am in a shitty little apartment, but I have somewhere to live. I don't plan on buying a home myself, so I'm not really concerned with how much a home costs. But it's probably better for the economy that people can reasonably get a home and not be spending more disproportionate amounts of their income on rent and stuff like that. Just seems like in general wages are going up, stuff like that. Is that necessarily directly related to new jobs have been created? And now, like, after, you know, for like a year and a half after him being in office, I've been skeptical. So I'm like, okay, well, like, I didn't really count Trump's losing jobs because COVID, and I didn't want to count Biden gaining jobs because COVID ended, right? But at this point, it's much further past the amount that a return from COVID jobs, right? Now, like, again, a lot of people were switching to hybrid and getting back in office, so it's not like we're trying to fudge numbers now. Like, many more jobs have been created. I mean, we're doing like more. We've brought more jobs onshore, manufacturing jobs. We're trying to start CHIPS Act and whatnot. We're just doing a lot of beneficial things. So, like, besides the Israel stuff, pretty good president. I take another, you know, I take his handlers for another 4 years. Whoever's actually running the show up there, decent job. He's really old, though. He's powerfully old. I can't imagine he survives another 4 years. I don't know if Trump survives another 4 years, though, also. Like, they're both really old guys. I think Trump's 2 years, like 2 years younger than Biden, if I'm not mistaken. Both very old individuals. But, like, I don't know, the last thing I want to say is, you know, so that, like, that's general positions on, like, Biden. There's more stuff we'll probably do, like a, what's his name, Tyler Kalinske deep dive, but I'll try and put the numbers up with me. Like, I'll do an edited video where I talk about things I do and don't like about Biden. I'll research the numbers, see what things I don't trust, see what they say from their actual, the White House, and see, like, okay, what can be corroborated, what are just, you know, what are fluff numbers, just give a general roundabout thing. I don't know, that'll be probably next week. I just need to make sure I have time to do shit like that. But, so the main thing that will lose Biden the election, because he was just, before Israel stuff, he was ahead of Trump. But the Israel stuff, now he's behind. The main thing I think is interesting, I'm wondering if voters will come around to this. I know many people are saying they will never vote for Biden, especially brown people. And when I say brown people, not like just all POCs, people of color, specifically anyone from the Middle East. I know it's I don't like saying the Middle East because it is Asia, but and technically Egypt, and there's a couple of North African areas. I mean, like, you know, Western Asia, and Northern Africa, basically. But that's generally, you can understand their discontent. The unfortunate thing is for both them and just, you know, many people my age and a little bit younger, the young liberals, really passionate about the Israel thing. I don't think I would say I'm as passionate, but I'm very disheartened to know that the amount of innocent lives can be ended in that. Like, you knew that we were still a place that didn't care about innocent lives, depending on, like, I guess the Ukraine thing made you think, like, oh, we do kind of care about innocent lives. Like, it's not productive for us to help Ukraine against Russia, except for the fact that Russia gets weaker and we don't like Russia. That's about it. Like, Russia's suffering, and I could do a breakdown and deep dive into them later. That'll come after the Biden good video and the Russia suffering. I'll do those. That'll be the next two ones. But I remember I was talking with a couple of my other people of color friends, saying, like, it is interesting how the whole world really got behind Ukraine very easily, while other wars were happening with invader nations, whatnot. Like, there were wars that were happening, and I believe at the same time there was one in Yemen. Civil war probably happening in Yemen. There were wars happening around the world besides the Ukraine one. No one really gave a shit. People being displaced. People being displaced because of, you know, different issues in South America. And, you know, it's still happening now. More happening now. I was like, man, is it just because they're white? At a point, I was like, wow, y'all really care about, you know, this stuff now. And, like, that's awesome. I'm glad we as a world have come together to care more about this. And then the liberal use kind of kept the same general energy, being as uninformed about Ukraine as they were about Israel, or as informed about Israel as Ukraine. And they're like, hey, I don't like when you murder children. And now, are there some young liberals right now who are potentially adding a lot more of their anti-Israel bias into the history of events? Like, I know there's a lot of instances where people are reading about different, you know, even the 1948, whenever the UN treaty or whatnot, and everything before and after that. I'm like, it's like, read the most charitable version of any Palestinian action and the least charitable version of any Israeli action in the past. And I could get it. If you're going off you read the last 20 years of history, and then you look at, like, well, based on the last 20, you know, years, Israel's always been the most dominant aggressor. They've had the most power. It's an oppressor-oppressee relationship. We know how liberals feel about those. It's not a one Israel death, one Palestinian death. It's not even one Israel death, two Palestinians. It's more like a 1 to 5, if not probably worse, over the last 20 years. And now it's astronomical. I mean, what was there? 1,200 deaths. I know it used to be 1,400. They worked the numbers back down. I guess there was some confusion counting numbers. And of course, it was recent war. It's crazy. 1,200 deaths on the Israeli side. I think we're at 20,000, 24,000 deaths. Well, estimated deaths on the Palestinian side, but not a lot of people being let in to count numbers. Only we don't have third parties allowed to go in and count and see, but we'll see. I'm pretty well, you know, I'm not really worried about. I don't think you have to lie about the numbers on the of deaths on the Palestinian side. I think the Palestinians are probably aware of that. Even Hamas is probably aware. Like, yeah, actually, there's not even much benefit of lying about that, because it's not really changing. Like, Israel's like, oh shit, 20,000. Oh, we'll stop now. No, they don't care. So it's like, you could, you know, if the actual number is 10,000, you could say 10,000. Like, 2,000 children's deaths was too many deaths, in my opinion. And now their estimation is like 10, 11,000 or something, which is much too many children's deaths. But that's not changing Israel's actions at all. But whether they lie about it, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully someone will get a chance to verify those numbers. I'm hoping that we can know what the actual account is. It's just good to know for the sake of history. But again, yeah, so all that's, some opinions on the war, but we'll wrap this up by saying, unfortunately, I think every other politician would do exactly the same thing as Biden's doing, which is nothing, and supporting Israel and allowing them to do whatever they want. So, let me go black the glare. It sucks, but like, I'll probably still end up voting for Biden because of a vote not for Biden. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have to. The 3 states that I've lived in, I lived in New England, and besides, like, what, New Hampshire? Maybe Vermont's probably. I think New Hampshire and Vermont are probably red states. But I mean, the states I've lived in, Connecticut, CT, Mass, Rhode Island, they're all blue. So based on how the Electoral College was, like, I actually don't even need to necessarily go out and vote. It's not as. I'm in Boston right now, but they vote blue. I mean, I'll probably still go out and vote. I'd actually probably be more interested in trying to fly out somewhere and canvass in a swing state, and really work on, like, the labor stuff, the union stuff, the economy stuff, and talk to people about how, like, hey, even if you're a conservative, the economy's actually doing, like, there's a lot of things to help you, help farmers, help industries, help small businesses, stuff like that. I don't want to dismiss the Israel stuff, but I'm like, it feels like when it's like one of those hopeless things, I don't know what you could do. Like, letting Trump win wouldn't help Israel. Well, no, I don't think it would help Israel. I don't think it would help Israel at all. But I don't think it would help the Palestinians at all to let Trump win, which sucks. I don't know how you scare Biden into believing that he needs to take that serious. I don't know what you do. But do you scare the next Democrats? Think of that. But my question is, what else do you stand to lose? Maybe. I mean, I'd actually, no. Let's take a second. We're almost at 20-minute mark, and I don't like making videos this long, but yes, I do. I like rambling. I think you probably do actually teach the Democrats a lesson if Biden loses because of the Israel and Palestine issue. I think you really do teach them a lesson. And then the next time, politicians probably will say, like, you know what? If I'm not going to get elected, I need to care about this. I can't just, like, the money that I'm getting from, I don't remember the name of the donor organization, the Israeli donor organization. The money that I'm getting from them is not enough to just not get elected. People like Fetterman, he seems like almost revel in losing progressive votes. I don't know what his strategy is. Let's see if probably, I don't know, I don't know where he actually runs. Like, depending on his demographics, he might be fine. But so I do think you teach at least presidential electorates a lesson. It's like, and then, then after the next 4 years, Biden, he'll be dead by the next election cycle anyway. Maybe you get like a younger guy. You get like a Pete Buttigieg. Now, if the country's like having Pete's gay, right? I'm pretty sure Pete's gay. Having a gay person trying to be president would have probably been impossible before. But with, you know, that much more time, we have even more Gen Z that are voting age. Most of them are voting age now, but more Gen, is it Alpha? Become voting age too. Or is it Alpha? We'll see. But a lot of these people are just like, the gay stuff's not gonna matter at all. And they're gonna become, generally people become more liberal. So I think that'd be great, get a younger person in and someone that's more willing to be like, hey, no, like genocide, probably not okay. Or right, you're gonna call it genocide, or genocide with an asterisk, ethnic cleansing with an asterisk, probably not okay. We won't support you. At least, right? You don't even have to stop them. Just don't support it, right? If that's, you know. But anyway, that's all of my thoughts on that. That was a lot of rambling, a lot of talking. I'll probably try and do 1 or 2 videos where I just ramble and talk like this, whether I'm in my room, on my way to work like I am right now, and then try and do one slightly more edited. Like, it's not going to be high quality stuff until I get an editor. Like I'll probably do like 5-10 minutes of more edited, where there'll be thumbnails and, you know, thumbnails to the guys. There'll be more, you know, screenshots of articles, links and stuff in the description and whatnot. But I just don't have time to do all that because I'm trying to do this, do a regular fun channel where I talk about comedy, do more comedic stuff or just random generic YouTuber stuff, and I'm trying to do Twitch too. So this channel is going to try and be informative but slightly lower effort. But I'd like to think that the demographic I'm going to gather here is probably going to be older. Like, I'm 27 now. I'm guessing most of you guys are close to my age. I don't think you guys need as much fanfare. You don't need all the editing, graphics, effects, I'd hope. But we'll see. But if you like what's all, leave a like, do subscribe, do a crime, just kidding, don't do a crime, and I'm out.